Chosen. Before this Tuesday, May 5, 2026, closes its hands around the remainder of your hours, you must listen with an undefended spirit to what has been placed in your hearing. You are here because you cannot be anywhere else. Do not mistake this encounter for casual browsing or the random accumulation of digital noise that fills the void of modern existence. You have been brought to this precise coordinate in time and space because your vibration has signaled a readiness for a sacred interruption. It is no coincidence that this message finds you precisely when the noise of the external world has become almost unbearable. Yet an internal stillness is beginning to make itself known within you. You are crossing a threshold that remains invisible to the sleeping masses, but for you, it is becoming the only reality that matters. Today carries a weight that will not appear on any calendar, and the world is going to call that weight horror. Because horror is what every threshold looks like to anyone who does not know what they are crossing into. But you are not one of them. You are crossing into something that has been prepared for you since the foundation of your world. Consider the signs that brought you here to this moment, sitting on the edge of a significant shift on this specific date, Tuesday, May 5, 2026. This hour, the one you are living through right now, does not matter in the way the world counts time. Sunrise, midday, the long descent toward evening, the deep quiet of late night. Wherever this voice meets you, the spiritual dimension of this moment remains consistent. The door is still cracked open, and heaven has not yet rolled up the scroll bearing your name. You have known this moment was approaching, even if you did not have the language to describe it. You have felt it in the subtle shifts of your reality, in the relationships that have dissolved without apparent cause, in the deep yearning for something that the material world cannot provide. This is not a teaching, it is an awakening of a memory you already possess within your DNA. You may have experienced it already, that sacred interruption in the actual physical hour of God, that heavy twilight between 3 and 5 in the morning, where the veil between what you see and what actually is becomes tissue paper thin. You found yourself staring at the ceiling, not with the frantic energy of anxiety, but with a strange, alert calm, burdened by a pressure on your shoulders that felt less like stress and more like the heavy mantle of responsibility being settled upon you. In that silence, perhaps there was a ringing in your ears, a high-frequency pitch that the world calls tinnitus, but which your spirit recognizes as data streams, as codes, loading into your awareness to prepare you for the density of the glory that is about to be revealed. This is not a metaphor. You are registering a frequency shift in your body. It is the signature of the chosen, the physical acknowledgement that your orphanhood is over and your assignment has begun. What brought you to this point was not a sequence of numbers in an algorithm, for the algorithm is not merely code, it is a spiritual mechanism, a vibrational sieve that has been sorting the wheat from the chaff. It has allowed the sleeping to continue their slumber while guiding you through a series of resonant nudges to this very sound. It only lets the resonant souls pass, those who can withstand the raw power of the truth without needing it softened by platitudes. We are not going to talk about subscribing. We are not going to say hello. We are not going to discuss a topic. We are here to witness an apocalypse, an uncovering of what has always been true. Today, Tuesday, May 5, 2026, was set apart not to break you, but to deliver you. You have been petitioning for this for lifetimes. Stay with me, and let me show you what the prepared see when this kind of day arrives. The Father has been waiting for you to look up. It is time to step into your watchtower. You have looked at the landscape of your life over these past seasons and seen only a wilderness, a barren stretch of ground where the promises of heaven seem to have withered under a silent sun. You felt the sting of betrayal, the cold weight of financial emptiness, and the hollow ache of isolation, and you labeled these things as failures. But I am here to tell you that what you perceived as a collapse was actually a surgical intervention by the universe. The architecture of the wilderness is never built by accident. It is a meticulously designed laboratory where the chosen soul is stripped of the attachments that would have become their executioners in the next dimension. Your financial drought was not a lack of favor, but a structural clearing of the ground. Had the resources flowed through you while your old foundations were still standing, the weight of the coming abundance would have crushed the very spirit it was meant to elevate. You were being placed in a vibrational quarantine. The Father allowed the accounts to run dry and the hands of men to be closed toward you so that your survival would become a direct transaction between your soul and the source. This was the only way to break the ancestral addiction to the approval of the matrix. You had to learn that the bread of heaven does not require the permission of the world to manifest. Within this divine distance, there are those you once called friends, family, or allies who suddenly became strangers, or worse, antagonists. You must understand the mechanics of their departure. There are watchers from your past, people who were moved out of your inner circle by a force they could not name. And they are still there, lurking at the edges of your periphery. They monitor you in secret, scrolling through the fragments of your life, waiting for the moment you finally collapse under the weight of your own calling. They do not watch out of love. They watch to see if the fire in you will finally go out so they can feel justified in their own mediocrity. But their exit was your greatest protection. The universe saw the rot in their hearts long before you were willing to admit it, and it performed a divine amputation. Had they remained, they would have been the parasites that consumed the light you are now beginning to emit. They were matrix parasites, souls tethered to a dying system, and they were removed so that your growth would occur in a vacuum. A vacuum is a space where no external pressure can influence the shape of what is being formed. You were not left behind. You were being hardened in that vacuum, so that when you finally step back into the world, your light will be so dense and so pure that no parasite can find a foothold within your field. This hardening process is the reason why the last few years felt like a slow death. You were being prepared to carry the frequency of the new era. Imagine a deep-sea vessel being built in a dry dock. It must be tested against a pressure it hasn't yet encountered. The loneliness you have endured was the testing of your hull. If you can stand in the silence of the wilderness without losing your mind, you can stand in the roar of the coming glory without losing your soul. The universe is not cruel, it is precise. It has kept you in a state of reserve, hidden in the shadows of the Almighty, while the world underwent its own chaotic sorting. You were kept in the dark so that your eyes would learn to see what others miss. You were kept in the quiet so your ears would learn the cadence of the Father's whisper over the shouting of the storm. This was the hardening of the chosen one. You were being made immune to the fluctuations of the visible world. You have lived through the architecture of the wilderness, and now you stand at the edge of the finish line. The watchers will see your ascent, but they will not understand the forge that produced you. They will see the gates torn from their hinges, but they will not know the price you paid in the secret place. Your results are about to become the only answer they will ever receive. The hardening is complete. The vacuum has served its purpose. Now we speak of the mechanics of the shift, the hidden turning of the gears that is currently restructuring your very existence. This is not a gradual transition. This is the moment of the quantum leap, where the rules of the third-dimensional struggle no longer apply to your movement. You have felt a strange tingling in your hands, a heat at the base of your skull, a sense that your skin is becoming too tight for the energy you are carrying. This is the physical manifestation of DNA reprogramming. The ancient codes, the original blueprints of the chosen ones that were dormant for generations, are being activated by the light currently bathing the earth. Your biology is being upgraded to hold a higher voltage of consciousness. This is your entry into the fifth dimension, a state where thought and manifestation collapse into a single point of reality. You are no longer a passenger in your life. You are becoming the driver of the very atoms that surround you. You must understand the kairos nature of this hour. The shift is not occurring because you have worked harder than others, or because you have finally checked enough boxes on a spiritual to-do list. In the old cycle, you were taught that effort was the currency of reward. But in the new era, resonance is the only currency that matters. The resources of heaven are not moving toward you because you earn them. They are moving toward you because your vibrational signature now matches the frequency of the resource. You have become a magnet for what was once elusive. The struggle is being removed from the equation because you can no longer be defined by what you do, but only by who you are. This is the erasure of karmic debt. The weight of the past, the mistakes of your bloodline, and the heavy chains of eye for an eye are being dissolved in an instant. The universe is clearing the ledger of your life, deleting the records of every perceived failure and every moment of lack. The cycle of cause and effect that kept you bound to the same repetitive sorrows has been broken. What you are experiencing right now is like a river entering a dry riverbed. For years you have seen the path, but it was dusty, cracked, and lifeless. You walked that path with heavy feet, wondering if the water would ever return. Now the floodgates of the unseen realm have been opened. The water does not ask the riverbed for permission to flow. It simply fills the space that was prepared for it through your endurance. This is how your life will look in the coming days. Opportunities that were once locked by iron bars will feel like gates torn from their hinges. You will walk into rooms you did not seek and find that the inhabitants have been waiting for your arrival with resources you didn't even know you needed. Financial streams that were blocked by spiritual walls will find a way through the cracks of the system to reach you, bypassing the logic of the economy. This is not magic, it is mechanics. When the receiver is tuned to the station, the music must play. You are moving from the realm of how to the realm of it is. The mind will try to pull you back into the mechanics of logic, asking for proof, demanding a sequence, seeking a reason for this sudden shift. It will ask you how the rent will be paid or how the business will grow, trying to keep you trapped in the 3D density of worry. You must silence the mind and let the state overrule the logic. The state of the chosen one is one of quiet, unwavering expectation. You do not need to understand the plumbing to drink the water. You do not need to explain the quantum leap to experience the jump. The atmosphere around you is thickening with the presence of the Father's intent. The air itself feels more substantial, more vibrant, as if the light is finally becoming matter. This is the weight of the fifth dimension settling into your material reality. You are no longer praying to a distant God for a future rescue. You are standing in the center of a current that is already carrying you toward the fulfillment of your mandate. The gates are gone. The debt is gone. The river is here. Allow the signature of your soul to vibrate at the frequency of this new reality. You have waited long enough in the dust. The shift is not a destination you are traveling to. It is a reality you have finally become. Look around you with eyes that see through the veil. The world hasn't changed yet, but you have, and because you have, everything else must follow. Now that the gates have been torn from their hinges, and the first trickles of the new river are reaching the parched earth of your life, you must learn the most critical discipline of the chosen, the law of silence. There is a sacredness to this current that cannot survive the scrutiny of the uninitiated. You are currently in a state of spiritual gestation, a period where your new reality is still soft, still forming, and still sensitive to the vibrations of doubt and cynicism. When the Father begins to do a new thing, He does it in the secret place, behind a closed door, in the shadow of the wing. He does this because a word spoken too soon is a leak in the dam of your destiny. If you take this new force, this burgeoning resource, and try to explain it to those who are still anchored in the old cycle, you are effectively throwing pearls before swine. Their skepticism is not just an opinion, it is a vibrational attack. They will use their logic to poke holes in your miracle. They will use their concern to weigh down your wings. You must make a covenant with your own lips. Do not speak of what is unfolding, even to those who share your table, even to those who have known you since the beginning. The people of your old cycle cannot understand the person you are becoming because they are still in love with the version of you that was broken. To tell them of your shift is to invite their energy to interfere with your frequency. You must keep your gardening closed. You must let the mystery ripen in the dark. This silence is your primary defense against the new threat that emerges whenever a chosen soul begins to ascend. As your vibration rises, you become a beacon in a world that thrives on dimness. The old environment, the system you are leaving behind, will not let you go without a struggle. It is not personal, it is parasitic. There are energy vampires in your sphere, individuals who have survived by feeding on your empathy, your struggle, and your constant availability. They will sense the change on you before they can see it. They will smell the light like a predator smells blood in the water, and they will move in to probe your new field. They will come to you with concerned faces, asking if you are okay, questioning why you are so quiet, or trying to drag you back into the old dramas that once kept you occupied. They will poke at your boundaries, trying to find the crack where your old insecurities used to live. They are not doing this consciously. They are being moved by the matrix to bring you back into alignment with the collective low vibration. They need you to be the old you so that they can feel comfortable in their own stagnation. If you engage with them, if you try to defend yourself or explain your new piece, you give them a handle to pull you back down. Every explanation is an invitation for them to debate your existence. You must refuse the debate. You must become a mirror, perfectly smooth and perfectly silent, reflecting their own noise back at them while you remain untouched in your center. Your silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration of absolute sovereignty. In the old world, you felt the need to justify your path, to explain your choices, and to seek validation from the very people who were holding you back. That era has ended. You are moving into a realm where words are no longer required to prove your worth or your calling. The verdict has already been handed down from the throne of the Most High, and the execution of that verdict is manifesting in your physical reality. Your results will be your only answer. You no longer need words to defend yourself. When the debt is erased, the bank statement will be the answer. When the body is healed, the strength of your step will be the answer. When the new doors open, your presence in the room will be the answer. The truth does not need a lawyer. It only needs a witness. Let them wonder. Let them whisper. Let them speculate about the source of your sudden stillness and the mystery of your new abundance. Their confusion is the proof that you are no longer operating within their frequency. You no longer search for the path. You are the path, and the path does not explain itself to the traveler. Your only task is to hold the seal, to guard the circle, and to let the results speak with the thunderous voice of the divine. You are under a new jurisdiction now, one that protects its own with a wall of fire that no vampire can cross. Stay in the silence. The seal is being set. The atmosphere in the room where you sit has reached its final density. The air is no longer just air. It is a medium through which the will of the Father is currently being impressed upon your physical reality. You can feel a warmth beginning at the soles of your feet and rising toward your crown, a slow, deliberate claiming of every cell, every atom, and every memory that makes up the vessel of your life. This is the application of the seal. In the ancient courts, nothing was official until the ring was pressed into the hot wax, creating an impression that could not be undone without destroying the message itself. You are that wax, and the Spirit of the living God is the seal. The period of your wandering, the season of your testing, and the era of your invisibility have come to their final, thundering conclusion. You have lived much of your life feeling like a stranger in a land that did not speak your language. You have looked into the eyes of those who should have known you and seen only a blank reflection, a refusal to recognize the light you carried. You began to believe that you were an anomaly, a glitch in the system, a soul without a home or a covering. But hear the decree that has been issued from the throne this very hour. Your orphanhood is over. You are under protection. The sense of being unsheltered, of being vulnerable to the whims of a cold and mechanical world, is being erased from your nervous system. You are no longer a solitary unit fighting for survival. You are a prioritized asset of the kingdom of light, and all the resources of the unseen realm have been deployed to ensure your transit into the new dimension. This protection is not a passive shield. It is an active, living boundary. It is the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. It is the wall of fire that consumes every low vibrational probe before it can touch your peace. You are being wrapped in a garment of invisibility toward those who would harm you, and a garment of high-frequency attraction toward those who are meant to assist you. The Father always saves the seal for the ones who stay, for the ones who did not turn back when the wilderness became too quiet or the night became too long. Because you stayed through the shaking, because you remained at your post on the watchtower through the fog and the horror, you have earned the right to carry the weight of the new glory. This is why the pressure on your shoulders has changed. It is no longer the burden of the old life, the struggle of the brickmaker under the whip of the matrix. It is the heavy, golden mantle of the priest and the king. You are being commissioned to walk through this Tuesday, May 5, 2026, as a sovereign entity, a child of the king who knows that every door they approach has already been unlocked from the other side. The world will see your calm and be troubled by it because they do not know the secret source of your supply. They do not know that you are being fed by a hidden manna and protected by a guard they cannot see. But the manifest must be anchored. The spiritual must be wedded to the material so that the shift is not merely a fleeting sensation, but a permanent restructuring of your earth. You must now perform an act of physical alignment to seal this word in the density of matter. This is not for the algorithm, nor is it for the eyes of men. It is a monument you build in the digital stone to mark the exact moment of your arrival. You must leave a record of your acceptance. Anchor this frequency by declaring your presence in the comments below. Write the words, "I have arrived," or simply place the signature of your spirit there. A word, a symbol, a brief acknowledgement that you have received the seal. This act of typing, this movement of your fingers in the physical world, is the tether that pulls the quantum leap into the realm of the tangible. It is the Amen that closes the prayer and begins the reality. By doing this, you are telling the universe and every watcher in the unseen realm that you have stepped across the line, that you have accepted the protection, and that you are ready to receive the fullness of the provision. You are claiming your seat at the table that has been prepared for you in the presence of your enemies. The silence is returning now, but it is a different kind of silence than the one you knew before this conversation began. It is the silence of a house that is full, the quiet of a ship that has finally reached the harbor. You no longer need to run. You no longer need to strive. You no longer need to plead with the heavens for a sign that you are loved or a signal that you are seen. The sign is the peace that is now settling behind your ribs. The signal is the authority that has returned to your voice. You are under the shadow of the Almighty, and His truth is your shield and your buckler. The old names they called you, rejected, broken, poor, alone, have been struck from the record. Your new name is written in the light, and it is a name that the darkness cannot pronounce. As you step away from this sound and move into the remainder of your day, do so with the slow, deliberate stride of one who knows the end from the beginning. Do not look back at the rubble of the old wall. Do not wave at the shadows of the people who could not follow you. Your eyes are now fixed on the horizon, where the sun of your destiny is finally breaking. The work is finished. The seal is set. The path is open. You no longer search for the path. You are the path.